Hey, this is Michael Russo, and you're listening to Chasing Dreams with Aimee J.
Welcome to Chasing Dreams podcast with Aimee J. Aimee believes that realizing a life without regrets is achieved by taking chances, chasing your dreams, making moves, and overcoming your doubts. The Chasing Dreams podcast will help you overcome life's obstacles, believe in your potential, and inspire you to face your fears. And now here's the woman who is passionately pursuing her dreams, Aimee J.
Hey Dream Chasers, this is Aimee J, and thank you so much for tuning into episode number 38. And I have a special guest star for you guys today, someone who is now my new friend, who is a friend of a friend and now my friend, and he is someone who was brought to my attention, and as soon as I heard his story, I was like, yes, absolutely, no doubt, he has to be on the show. As long as he says yes, let's make this happen. And so he's on the show today, and his name is Michael Russo. And at the time of this recording, he's a full-time college student and founder of Sticky Quotes, which we'll talk about more later in this episode. He's a double major in business management and philosophy, which, you know, I'm interested to hear how those two go together, and is very active on his campus, serving as president of the Entrepreneurship Club. And one of his goals is to one day found a company in the clean, renewable energy industry that helps save the planet. Well, Mike's already doing his part in making this world a better place with his positive attitude and Sticky Quotes business. So please welcome Mike to the show. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Aimee. Thank you for the awesome introduction. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy to be on the show.
I am happy to have you here. Listen, before we get into why I'm so stoked to have you on the show, let's back up to you are in college, so you're a young gun, right?
Yeah.
You're about to graduate, though. What's the countdown?
I think we're at 45 or 46 days. I'm going to have to check on that, but it's May 21st, so we're almost there.
You know, it doesn't matter because somewhere in the world it may be the other date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In India, it could be like 45. You're fine.
Oh.
You're good. It's still there. That's exciting, though. So you're about to graduate. When you entered college, is this what you imagined where you are right now?
Honestly, I was I was always pretty optimistic about my life in terms of like being successful. I was always pretty driven, and like I always had a vision to do something big. I just didn't know what it was. But in high school, I was actually in a really cool program in my senior year where I started a virtual business in my like senior college business class.
An actual business?
Yeah, well, it's a really weird concept. It's called virtual enterprises, and you are connected with like all of the high schools across the country and the world actually who have virtual businesses. So like there's a virtual law firm and a virtual marketing firm and a virtual promotional products company, and all the actions are real. We really did financial reporting and marketing efforts and designing websites and whatnot, but it was, you know, virtual currency and really cool high school program. Honestly, I was so fortunate. I'm so happy to be in the program. I still mentor kids in the program to this day, and it's awesome.
That's really cool. I've never heard of that. It's so you essentially get practical experience without the risk in reality. I mean, there's a risk, I'm sure, virtually.
Definitely. And there's like business plan competitions and trade shows. So a lot of the things I was doing in high school, I'm doing now. I just didn't know I would be as entrepreneurial as I would be. That kind of came in the later, middle of my college experience.
Now, were you always double major?
I came in accounting major freshman year, because I was like the chief financial officer of my virtual business. And, you know, I thought I liked accounting, and then I took a few classes. I'm like, wow, this is really hard. And I shadowed.
There's a little more to it?
Yeah, I shadowed like at a company for a day or two. And like I talked to a whole bunch of CPAs, and I've seen kids struggle through the CPA exam. And that just really wasn't for me. And I did an internship next semester at Morgan Stanley because I thought I'd like finance, and I didn't like that. But I was there for like a year, and it was a great experience. But I figured out learning what you don't like to do is kind of just as valuable as learning what you do like to do. So Absolutely. It was a good experience. Yeah. That happened. And then I switched to business management, and I was like in the liberal arts honors program, and I was introduced to a philosophy class I was always a bit of a thinker, and it kind of got me going. I felt like I was mind blown every class, so I got really interested in it, and I had a room in my schedule for it.
There's one thing to like a class, but you're double majoring in it.
Yeah, I've taken like 18 credits or 21 credits, which is usually like 6 or 7, 3-hour classes a week. So it's a lot of hours of class.
I mean, I know I'm a little removed from the college world, but correct me if I'm wrong. And for those who are not in college because they're in high school, or you're way out of college and you don't remember, 18 credits, that's a lot of credits to be taking one semester.
Yeah, it's nuts. Usually you take like 12 to 15, which is like 3-4, 3-hour classes.
Oh, okay. So college isn't so far off from
what I used to. But it's weird. The more credits I take, the higher GPA I have. And the less credits I take, I think because I have more time to relax and not do as much schoolwork, I think I find myself being less productive when I have less things scheduled.
So that's interesting. Okay. So would you say, based on your experience and what you just said, that by keeping busy, because 18 credits does keep you busy, you're more focused?
Yeah, especially for an entrepreneur when you don't have like a boss telling you what needs to be done and when. To have anything fixed in your schedule is like a nice little cornerstone, so you can like schedule around and like have an idea of when you can and can't do things. It definitely helps me. That's the way I've been thinking about it lately. I can't say I've thought like that for the past 4 years. It's kind of just coming to me now, but it's definitely helping out, thinking like that.
Life experience, Mike. Life experience. I mean, it's amazing how much you've done already. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how Sticky Quotes came about for the audience, so those who are not aware yet of what Sticky Quotes is?
Definitely. So when I was at that Morgan Stanley internship that I mentioned before, my boss I was underneath a financial advisor, and I was in like the wealth management division. It was really cool. Not for me, but really cool. And he would write me all my to-do lists on sticky notes, and like they weren't the most exciting tasks. It was I did some important things, but it was mostly like intern duties, like that you regularly imagine like they do in the movies. And he wrote me a positive quote on a sticky note one day instead of a to-do list, and like it was a really nice experience because he usually wasn't that friendly all the time. He was a good guy, but not that friendly. And it was really inspiring, and like I liked the idea, and I started writing them, and I always shared like motivational content on my social media as it was, so I just started sharing that too. It was like part of my routine, once a week or twice a week I'd write a quote and share it. And then I guess being the business-minded college student I kind of saw it as like that'd be really cool. Like, they have calendars with quotes on them and posters with quotes on them. And they even have promotional sticky notes with things on them, but there's no like pack of inspirational sticky notes, like particularly themed. And it made sense because I always saw it as like a random act of kindness that people did for years. Like I wasn't the first to write a quote on a sticky note, but I was the first to really like, in my opinion, turn it into a business, which has been in itself a crazy, crazy experience. But I was printing them in my house for a while, just sticking sticky notes on a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, one by one, and running them through my printer. And it was crazy. And I eventually found someone who could commercially produce what I do at the scale I needed it. And I entered a business plan competition, won some money, and was able to pay for my first run of inventory. And then I secured an investment from some people at my school, like that I networked with, that were in the business division. And it was like, so normally the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs is like access to capital, and being a college student, it was just like there was so many opportunities in front of me when I had an idea and so many people willing to help. The internship in college really were like vital in starting Sticky Quotes. So it's been like a great support.
Let's back this up, because you said it's an amazing story, right? Your boss at the time inspires you to do this, right? You see it, there it is. And then you go and start doing it yourself. Do you have graphics in your background? Are you good with it, or were you just writing like?
No, absolutely not. I was terrible.
Were you doodling?
I was like just writing like in my terrible handwriting. Like I'm a lefty. Every time I write, it smears across the page and it just looks terrible. But I bought some stock photography at first and was just using like quotes that you find on the internet. And I bought like the exclusive rights to use them or not the exclusive, just like the rights to use them in commerce and whatnot. And that was like really a good lesson in itself, like learning how to just hack things together, because I didn't have really the money to go pay a designer, and I didn't have the skills to do it myself.
So you found a way, you putting this stuff together on this Post-it note. Was that before, and you're sticking it everywhere, was that before you got the sense of, hey, let's make it a business, or was that just kind of when it happened?
Yeah, so this is when like the Entrepreneurship Club piece kind of overlaps. Simultaneously and coincidentally, as I was leaving my internship, I was enrolling in an entrepreneurship, like 1 credit class, and it was a great introduction. And my teacher and 2 of my teachers ended up, one being my mentor, who I interned for at an awesome tech company called No More Robo, which is just insanely amazing, and he's a great mentor. And he's the one who kind of taught me my technical stuff eventually. And then the other teacher was ultimately my investor now. And they're both awesome guys. And they asked me to start the Entrepreneurship Club with them at the school after the class. And I brought them, naturally, that idea when we were in the class and in the club. And they kind of steered me in the right direction.
So you had a mentor to help guide you. But, I mean, you're still at the same time learning all of this.
Yeah.
Did you really take a Post-it note, stick it to a 8.5 by 11, stick it in your printer, and then print it?
Yeah, so I was looking up how to print sticky notes, like custom sticky notes, and everywhere I looked, you can only print a pad of sticky notes where every quote is the same throughout it, or every image. Like, you know, when a company gets custom sticky notes to have in the office and whatnot, like it's the same thing on every page.
Yeah, the shape and the wording and everything, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really, sticky quotes is there's a different quote on every page, which is really unique, and it's not an easy process to print, actually. And that's why it was really tough to find a printer who could ultimately do it. For a while, like you said, if you look up how to print sticky notes at your house, like there's do-it-yourself ones, and you could get a template, and it's like, imagine the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and there's six spots for a sticky note on it, and you just run it through, and you manually sticking them. And I was packaging them, and I designed a cover on Illustrator, the Adobe software, and then I went on Uline, a big packaging website, and bought a bunch of retail bags, and I was just walking really store to store, like independent gift shops in my town, and asking feedback. And 3 of them actually took them and sold them for me. They took like 20 units at a time, and it was just getting those little pieces of traction and having a few sales here, a few sales there. I was selling on Etsy because it was handmade at that point. It was a great way to prove my concept, and it really worked, and people really liked it.
So one retailer takes 20 units. How many is in 1 unit?
At that time, it was 24. It was totally different. It was just 4 pieces of paper with 6 sticky notes on each. Now it comes in a pad of 50 sticky notes, and there's usually 25 unique quotes that each repeat, or there's 50 unique quotes, depending on which pad.
So you made 480 Post-its, put it together, packaged it, and gave it to a retailer by hand. And that's just one.
One day, I just made like 130 of them in one day. So whatever 130 times 24 Post-it notes is how many Post-it notes I stuck
that's
and packaged.
3,120 Post-it notes.
Well,
I've never seen that
really
many Post-it notes.
Good math. It was I went to Staples. They thought I was crazy, and you have to print the sheet first, and then run the sticky notes back out, and then put the sticky notes on to get. You have to print the template and whatever. It was crazy. It was miserable. There were sticky notes everywhere. My mom hated me because they were all over my kitchen. My dorm room is still, but at that point it was really crazy, and it was covered in sticky notes.
And guys, the reason I'm breaking this down, I guess, if you will, is this isn't easy what he did. He went and did this process. It was tedious. It was manual. It was probably hair-pulling annoying at times. But he still did it. I mean, 3,120 sticky notes in one day. And then, I mean, you didn't even have a guarantee that anybody going door to door would want it. And you're taking a chance. Did you just believe in it that much? Honestly,
I was reluctant to do it because I got so frustrated that there wasn't a way to just pay someone to print it. Because, I interned for a while. I had a little money saved up, and I wanted to just pay someone to print it. And when I found out you couldn't really do it unless you had a lot of money, my mentor, who I referenced before, just told me, He's the one who found the do-it-yourself method to do it. And like I was at my internship working for him, and he spent an hour with me, like making me do it basically. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, there's no way I'm gonna go home for the next day and a half and do this. Like, you can't make me. I don't want to do entrepreneurship. And he's like, just try it. If you don't like it, you know, it's whatever. You move on to the next thing. I didn't really care also because I knew I would just give the sticky notes away because they were positive and like.
That was what you wanted to do with them, right?
Yeah, that was the initial focus anyway. I didn't want to get like greedy or be like all about the business. I was still doing like a positive thing, which is really what it started from.
But the thing is, though, Mike, you did this, you didn't know, and now you can say that you've literally made this company, right, from the ground up, and you've done every part of the job, that you've actually literally made the sticky notes. And so while you're doing this and you never got tired of it, I mean, I probably would have thrown my hands up in the air. What did you ever think that this wouldn't work because you might not find a printer to do it automatically for you? Did that fear ever come in?
Yeah, well, I was thinking of so many schemes on how I was going to do it if it didn't work. So I was trying my hardest not to be dissuaded by the fact that it was taking a long time to find them. I didn't really have much of a plan B. So I just kind of went and I waited till I felt like it was... Honestly, I was treating it as a project almost, and it wasn't like a full-time business. But then when I realized... I guess the point where I realized it was a full-time business was when I pitched in that business plan competition, and simultaneously I found, like right before that, I found the printer. So it all kind of happened at once where, like, I hate the term overnight success. Like, I don't really believe in that because there's so much behind the scenes work that goes into things. I was going to say
that what you did is not an overnight success.
Yeah, I know. I get really annoyed when I hear that term.
I mean, it's the people like Taraji P. Henson, like a 20-year overnight success with Empire, you know? You've worked so hard for it, and while you've gone through all of this, it looks like the strokes have, the stars have aligned for everything to kind of suddenly happen, but you really did put the effort into it.
Yeah, I did, and I think being in college and being kind of risk tolerant at that point, because I'm so young, I was younger at that point. I think I wasn't afraid to fail, which is huge and is such cliche advice, like don't be afraid to fail. But it really, I didn't even think about failing because it wouldn't have been a failure either way, I guess.
Well, now you're here, right? And so I got to ask, how do you not run out of inspiration or motivation to write on these sticky notes?
That's funny because I almost want to rip up every sticky note I see now because they're all over the place. I love them though. Like, I love the quotes and I love, writing them and thinking of them. They're just everywhere. Every time I'll pull out my drawers and I'll be folding clothes and I'm finding sticky notes. But the motivation comes from just being able to do things like this. Being on a podcast like this, I get asked to come talk to high school students, like with the program I mentioned in the beginning, and just being involved on campus. And again, being in college, I have a great support system. Like, they put me on the website, which is like such a good feeling, and they let me have table days where I can sell my product and give feedback constantly, which has been huge. Yeah, I think just having a great support system with mentors and resources is really valuable, and my time's running out with those resources because in a month I won't be a college student. It really just keeps me going. And I think I'm going to end up staying involved with my college in some form and the entrepreneurship program and helping build it. And me being able to help other people do what I did is really, really rewarding.
So you made this business, though, and you have a mentor. Was there some kind of guideline? Is it in your club that kind of laid out what you need to be doing? Or were you just kind of trial and error? All right, great. The retail thing worked. Now what do I do?
No, it's crazy because the club in itself was a startup. Like, there was no entrepreneurship club before me and this guy, my mentor, got there. Like, it was not a thing. I was the first one in the entrepreneurship class ever. It was a 1-credit class, and they were piloting it. And it was a startup in itself, which really helped us. Before Sticky Quotes, we as a group, like the first 6 kids in the club, we made this. We took a greeting card and put a LED, like a LCD video screen in it, and you were able to upload videos from like Facebook and Twitter onto this card. Yeah, it was. We hacked it together. Again, we sourced like a sample. They use this for like promotional products. If you go to like BMW and buy a car, they give you like a little booklet with a screen in it. And we found them from Alibaba actually, and we ordered them from China. And that was a great experience too, because now I talk with suppliers all over the world, and that was really, it gave me a taste of that. We got this thing for like $40. And it was not worth it. It was pretty junky, and but we had a prototype in our hand, and we pitched it, and it was cool. And we showed it to the school, and we got some. It was just like our first project, and that was a startup in itself. It was awesome. And then 3 months later, we all kind of realized it wasn't going to work, and we all went into like our different ventures. I have a whole bunch of friends in the club who also have their own really cool things going on.
Well, it's exciting because they do say surround yourself by the people that are similar to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And the fact that you've already got that support system, that peer group, mastermind, if you will, is great.
Oh, it's so awesome. We have like a Long Island startup meeting. It's called Started on Long Island, actually. The last Wednesday of every month, we go into a restaurant like all over the island, and we meet because everyone's from all over the place. So we try and hit every town. It's really like a mastermind, like you said, and it's one of the greatest ways to get feedback from people because a bunch of random people come all the time, new people every time we go there, and really having a fresh set of eyes on your idea, new perspectives is like what it's all about. And we always encourage, not only we don't work with just business majors and the Entrepreneurship Club. I love when kids from other majors come. It's like that's really when the best things happen.
So I saw something interesting when I was doing my research before our interview, because yes, guys, I do research. Okay, know that. You tried out for Shark Tank.
Yeah, I did. It was crazy. I went again with my mentor. He kind of made us go.
Was this in New York?
Yeah, we went to the one of the ABC studios in New York. That was a crazy experience. We got there really, really early in the morning, 10 o'clock maybe, and we were there till midnight.
Oh man.
Yeah, we were. I mean, we got interviewed at like 8, probably 7 or 8, but we stood online for like 7-8 hours. We walked around the city for a little, but you got your bracelet, and then they tell you go away, and then come back in an hour when we open the doors. And it was just total chaos. There was like 700 people there, and we walked in the room. It's not like you're pitching to the big sharks at this point. It's just like they're casting directors, and they. You have 30 seconds to a minute to pitch them an idea, and it was honestly really, it was pretty nerve-wracking, and I don't usually get nervous with things like that, especially I public speak in front of like way more people, and it was just one person face-to-face, but everyone's in a line pitching next to each other, and it was a great experience. It was crazy. I met so many cool people online who are doing so many cool things, and I connected with people on Instagram and collaborated with them off the Shark Tank line. It was amazing.
That is so cool. I mean, for the fact that you were there till midnight and you only had 30 seconds to a minute. Did you practice what you wanted to say?
Yeah, but the thing is, when I got there, I wish I didn't do what I practiced because I didn't get on to the second round. My best friend I went with, one of my best friends, and my mentor, who are both part of the club, they both got on the next round. And I always script things usually. Like I kind of get like to be organized before, and they're like, you should just freestyle this one. It's not going to be like that. And I didn't believe them, and they were right. And they got on to the next round, and I didn't.
Wait, so is this like American Idol where you could try again in the next season or something? Or
yeah. I could have went. I could have went to like Philadelphia a few weeks later and tried out again. But
would you do that?
Well, yeah, this was 2015, but I would do it now. I should have probably went again, but I think I was there way too early. It was only 2-3 months into the business. I didn't have enough traction. This year I would definitely go back, but I didn't see a New York open casting call, and the other one was in like California, and it was like around when I have finals, and it's just crazy.
You're so responsible, Mike. Look at that. About to graduate from college, a senior, talking about finals.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about them, but...
That's right, because you have like 45, 46 days.
Yeah, finals will be here before you know it.
Well, you skip over that part, 45, 46 days, and then you're graduated.
I know.
That's the cool part.
The light at the end of the tunnel, I can see it.
So tell us, Mike, because I'm not the only one now hooked. I'm pretty sure there are other people who are listening who are hooked. What is next for Sticky Quotes?
Yeah, so it started with just inspirational quotes, and then I released after surveying people what kind of quotes they want, what kind of content they want to see. I released love letters, which are obviously like romance theme, lunchbox notes, which is the first thing most people say when I show them a sticky quote is, oh, it's like a lunchbox note, like I put it on my kid's lunchbox. So I just finally made those. This was a few months ago. Like girl power, female empowerment, like style, express yourself type quotes, and then words of wisdom, like philosophy quotes, which are my favorite, and they're all about like life and Zen type quotes, and they're awesome. And I'm gonna come out with a bunch more categories of quotes this summer. Hopefully, I have some being designed now. Education, like diet, fitness. I might even come out with like sarcastic, kind of passive aggressive, but not too mean, but kind of inspiring and funny quotes. I'm trying to find a nice balance there. And
Mike, when you're doing that, if you come up with a sarcasm font, I think you would be the hero for the world.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Wow. You should trademark that.
Sarcasm font?
Yeah, copyright it or something. That's good.
Somebody has to put that together. I'm going to put that out in the world. Somebody come up with a sarcasm font. It's 2016, y'all. There should be one out by now. Just saying. Do you ever run out of things to put, like to write down? Like,
fortunately, there's an endless. Back to when I started, I honestly cannot remember a time, any day. Like right now, if you pick up your phone and scroll down any social media feed, I guarantee you will see a sunset with a quote or something with a quote. And there's quotes everywhere, but it's all digital, and yeah, it's great, to share things inspirationally on digital platforms. But I think it's really cool to have it in person. It's a totally different effect. But yeah, there's quotes everywhere. So a lot of them are in the public domain, which anyone can use. That's like if there's a whole bunch of laws surrounding that, which I've had to finagle and deal with and learn about and get advice on, which has been an awesome learning experience. About copyrights and all that stuff. Some of them you have to pay for the rights to use. Some you have to ask for permission. Some people are just, they would love to have their content featured. And I'm working on building a big database of all the quotes on that are on the sticky notes and like connecting like the authors with them and giving them a way to, promote their content and stuff. A lot of people are interested in putting their own content on the quotes, which is a whole nother business model that I'm working on. But people love having their quotes on it, and most of them are just generic quotes that I think of some of them. Some are just creatively spun, and it's always fun collecting them.
So are you now like getting someone to help you with the graphics that are on these quotes, or is it still all you?
So I use actually a few different designers I've had over time, and I've just tried everything. I use an awesome website, Upwork, or Elance, it used to be at least. And I found a bunch of freelancers because my school's not really like technical like that. It's a nursing school and really education and business. And so I had a hard time finding someone here. And I found people in my network, but I wanted somewhere to compare prices to. And I found a bunch of people who were really interested in the project and just wanted, their name on it and really cared about the project also. So it's really never been a problem finding people to collaborate, which is always awesome. And I really appreciate everyone who loves to be a part of the movement and stuff.
I mean, it's an amazing movement. And something that I think the world needs is more positivity. And the fact that you kind of saw that and wanted to do that is amazing. And so I actually have to ask about your goal that you talked about, that I knew about and mentioned in the beginning, that you wanted to found a company in the clean, renewable energy industry that helps save the planet. Is helping the planet or making things better, has that always been something important to you?
Actually, no. I was totally unaware, and my head was totally in the sand in terms of anything wrong with the environment, and I had no idea, and I can't blame it on anyone. My parents, in their generation had no idea about that stuff, and people still don't necessarily think there's a problem with the environment. To me, it became obvious. My little brother, who actually, I just missed a phone call from him, but I will call him later, he goes to school for sustainability management, and he's a freshman now. He's a lot younger than me, but he's always been like way ahead of his time and very smart and very science background. He would always tell me these crazy things. I never believed him, and then like I started to read about it in the news, and I finally started to believe him and ask him a bunch of questions. And this was like when I was a senior in high school. Honestly, if I was a little earlier, I probably would have ended up going to school for some kind of environmental engineering or something, because that's what I'm really, really passionate about. I think like energy and technology. I'm actually pretty optimistic about the future in terms of like the climate, and I think science might save us all, and technology somehow, even if they have to move the Earth away from the sun if it gets too hot. I don't know. I think they'll figure something out. I've always been interested in that stuff.
Well, it's really admirable what you're doing. I mean, if I remember correctly, the founder of 5 Hour Energy has taken his profits, and he created a company that's, doing research on that kind of thing, on, how to better the environment, the world, and everything. You should look into him.
Yeah,
He's
definitely.
doing some amazing things also. And I could see you kind of doing something similar, sticky quotes taking off, and then you on the side working to make the world a better place in a different way.
Yeah, that sticky notes is, sticky quotes definitely like makes people happy, and it's more like a psychology, a positive philosophy type thing. But it's I love the project. I love working on it. I'm so passionate about the company and like the mission. But sticky notes aren't the end of it for what I want to do, and there's definitely more for me. But I'll never forget, the mission that I started sticky quotes with. That's always like going to be a part of my philosophy going forward, and I think it kind of translates to the energy, environmental piece. Just in a different, still going to be entrepreneurial, and I'll probably start something myself. I just got to, learn a new subject, really.
Well, I have no doubt that you could do that.
Thank you.
Mike, before we wrap up, there's one thing I ask all my guests to do, and I'm curious to hear what your answer is. What is one thing you would tell a dream chaser? It could be a piece of advice, it'd be a book, it could be anything under the sun. What would you impart upon them?
All right, I'm gonna make this relevant to the whole show here. My favorite sticky quote is the mind is like a parachute. If it doesn't open, it doesn't work. So be open-minded, and again, that is super cliche, but you need to say yes to things you normally would not say yes to, and you need to do things you normally wouldn't do. And a piece of advice I just got yesterday, which is totally related to being open-minded, is, however long you think something is going to take, it's going to take way longer. And however hard you think it's going to be way harder. So you got to be open-minded in the sense you got to think of things from different perspective. And this is like my philosophical background. And, you got to be critical of things and question things and look for problems and look for solutions. And to do that, you have to be open to new experiences and willing to try new things, because when you try new things, opportunities pop up. If you're doing the same thing every day and, going to school every day and you're going home back to your room and you're not doing anything, you're going to work and have no extracurricular, no other involvement, no other interests, it's hard to see other opportunities and, have a new perspective. So keep an open mind.
I love that. And I'd love to see where it's taking you. Thank you so much, Mike, for being on the show and sharing your story. And I hope others are inspired by what you've done and also by your sticky quotes.
Yes. Please buy my sticky quotes. That would be amazing. The website is mystickyquotes.com, and you can find us on social media at mystickyquotes.com. A portion of the profits do go to that organization I was talking about earlier. And hopefully in the future, I want to collaborate with a bunch of other organizations that work to build student entrepreneurship, and eventually my own thing that helps build that would be awesome. And the podcast I just started is called The Motivation Movement, and it all ties in the whole mission of Sticky Notes, inspiring people when they least expect it. Yeah, I'd love for you guys to follow, and I'd love to stay in contact with you guys and get engaged with your audience and everyone, and that'd be great.
And that was Mike Russo. Guys, isn't he amazing? The things he is doing, the positivity he is spreading around the world. Definitely keep your eye out for the things he is doing. I think we're going to see a lot more from Mr. Russo, and I'm looking forward to it. And definitely check out all the links he mentioned. You can find them on the show notes page at chasingdreamshq.com/episode 38. That's episode 38. And until next time, guys, stay positive and keep chasing.
Thank you so much for listening to Chasing Dreams. Aimee would love to connect with you and hear all about your pursuit of chasing your dreams. Connect with her on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram via @ChasingDreamsHQ. Or you can find Aimee on Twitter @AimeeJ21. That's AIMEEJ21. Be sure to visit headquarters over at ChasingDreamsHQ.com for more inspiration, motivation, and resources to help with your own dream chase. We hope you'll join Aimee next week, and until then, keep chasing.